Financial Resource Workbook is a tool that can help you understand the many different financial programs that work together to make a Western education accessible. The Financial Resource Workbook is designed for students entering Year 1 full-time studies at Western's main campus who are Ontario residents and are coming directly from high school. Some of the financial resources that will be considered are student grants and loans via the Ontario Student Assistance Program, scholarships and awards, bursaries, savings, and contributions from parents. Let's take a look at the Financial Resource Workbook to understand how it works. In order to estimate the costs of studying at Western, we need to know about your plans. For example, which faculty will you be in? This impacts the amount of tuition you will be charged. What is your estimated high school final average? This will help to determine how much you may receive in an admission scholarship. Where do you plan to live while you study? If your parents do not live in London, you will need to pay rent and living expenses while studying at Western. As you make your selections in the Financial Resource Workbook, you will see your costs displayed in the financial summary area. The total expenses is an estimate of your costs for the September to April period of study. Now let's talk about resources that are available to help with these costs. The Ontario Student Assistance Program, often referred to as OSAP, provides loans and grants to students who qualify based on financial need. Loans need to be repaid after you graduate. Grant funding does not need to be paid back. To understand how much OSAP funding that you can access, use the OSAP aid estimator. This will provide an estimate of the amount of student loans and grants for which you may be eligible. To use the estimator, first, select the school, Western University. Then, enter the name of the program you intend to study, for example, social science. Next, you will need the start and end dates of your program, tuition amounts, including student fees, and estimated book costs. To find current rates of tuition and student fees, see the fee schedule on the registrar's website. You will then be asked about how much you expect to earn during the summer before you start university, how much money you expect to receive from all sources while you study, and the market value for any vehicle that you own. Finally, you will be asked about the income of your parents. The estimator will take you 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Once you have finished with the OSAP estimator, you can take those values and enter them in the Financial Resource Workbook. For example, the OSAP aid estimator may provide data such as what you can see in this chart. Now, enter these values in the Financial Resource Workbook. Almost there, just a few things to finish up. The Financial Resource Workbook will give you an estimate of the admission scholarship available from Western, based on how you answered some of the earlier questions. If you have an RESP, enter the amount that you are withdrawing for this 1 year, also called the Educational Assistance Payment. In the savings field, enter the savings that you have accumulated from any full or part-time work. Most students entering university right after high school are considered dependent students for OSAP purposes, meaning that parents are expected to contribute financially towards educational expenses relative to the family's income level. Enter the amount of financial support that you will be receiving from your parents in the Money from Parents field. Be sure not to include any RESP funding here. Enter any scholarship or award money that you are receiving from other sources not including Western. And finally, enter any other income you may be receiving while you study in the Other Income field. To see how all of this information comes together in the Financial Resource Workbook, let's take a look at an example student and their financial summary. John is a student entering the Faculty of Social Science. John's tuition is $5,975. His student fees are approximately $1,345, and his net family income was $58,000 last year. John lives in residence while studying and has 2 siblings living with his parents. John received the following financial support. The funding gap is the difference between John's expenses and his resources. That difference will need to be covered from other sources, such as contribution from parents or from student savings or a combination of both. This is John's net tuition summary. John had to pay $0 out of pocket towards his tuition. All of his tuition was covered by his financial support. In a second example, Jane is entering the Faculty of Engineering for first-year studies. Her expenses are based on the engineering fees and living off campus. The difference between Jane's costs and her available resources will need to be covered from other sources. When looking at her net tuition, we see that the cost has been reduced to $424 as a result of the financial support that she has received. Finances are an important component of your decision to attend Western. For more information, please see the Student Finances section on the Office of the Registrar's website.